Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Going to go through some Chelsea news today, and I think we're going to manage to perhaps not talk about Graham Potter so much in this video today, because we have got 4 news stories to talk about. One of them is this one of them is Kovacic, one of them is Kante, and the final story is about the new FAB board that Chelsea have got. We're going to leave that one till last. But before we get into anything, 2023, I decided in 2022 that this is my year. So make sure you subscribe to GBFC so that you don't miss anything, because we're going full steam ahead. We have got daily videos, sometimes multiple videos. So make sure you're subscribed. And if you do enjoy the updates, hit the like button on this one. Links to my Patreon for Discord in the description down below. But we begin with the sad news. No way, not a George Benson video talking about Chelsea, where we're a little bit sad. Not only is my cat squealing away, I've shut her in the bathroom for a while because for whatever reason I start talking and she's like meow, meow, meow. She has no idea. And then I watch Jan's video and he's got his cat chewing through his wires. It must be something in the air today. But Thiago Silva, this ain't good, guys. It's not good whatsoever. He's going to be out for at least 6 weeks. And as I said yesterday in my video where I was discussing the Thiago Silva injury, what it means that we have got to be super careful. And it kind of goes against everything I said last week, where I was peed off that Potter was giving players days off because we're worried about overload. All right, mate, well, they're fit now, so just chuck them on the pitch. But Thiago Silva could well be out for 6 weeks. But to move into something a little bit more positive as a result of this, how can anyone ever be happy if Thiago Silva is injured? Please shoot me now. I don't mean to say it like that, but Wesley Fofana and Benoit Badiashile as a centre-back partnership, we'll probably end up seeing flipping Koulibaly start at the weekend against Leeds and he'll get sent off. But it should be, if I was the bloke in charge, Wesley and Benoit as Chelsea's centre-back too. Wesley Fofana is probably the signing that I feel doesn't get talked about enough here at Chelsea, because we bought a very silky Premier League established defender last summer and we spent an awful lot of money on the bloke. And because of injuries that have hindered the start of his Chelsea career, we maybe could have foreshadowed this one coming as well, because he was injured a bit at Leicester too. But now he's fit again. And I think if ever there was a time for Wesley Fofana to put his stamp on proving why Chelsea spent such a large fortune to bring this man to the club, then this is his opportunity. And I think when you think about connections right now in the team, when you think about a lack of connection between players in the team, these 2 young French centre-backs can look at the opportunity they'll have to feature over the next 6 weeks for Chelsea in that centre-back too. And I think what we can do here is we can confirm that when Thiago Silva, lo and behold, I do never want this day to come, but when Silva does decide enough is enough, I can't go, I'm not going to carry on with that. We need to know that the 100 million that we've spent on Badiashile and Fofana together is the partnership that we can trust for the future. What Chelsea need to do here, and what Graham Potter needs to do, I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but it all comes back to it, okay? We need to start building patterns in this team. And I'm not just talking about transitional passes, triangles, trying to get a shot on goal, any of these kind of things. What we need to do is we need to establish the connections on the field that we know we can rely on. When I talked last week about Chelsea being desperate to formulate a spine for this team, as much as Thiago Silva is probably the best footballer at the club, I think the opportunity now for Fofana and Badiashile to form that partnership could be a big one for Chelsea to understand where our recruitment needs to go for the future. So, when we're talking about Boehly's long-term plan, we're talking about Potter's long-term plan, however that could possibly go down, I think this is a really, really big one. And I wouldn't sleep on this opportunity for both Wesley Fofana and Benoit Badiashile to create, hopefully, a formidable partnership over the coming weeks. We move into the delightful news that N'Golo Kante will be staying at Chelsea Football Club. The only thing that worries me about this is that we've given him a 3-year contract. Now, I think when you think about players that represent Chelsea right now, players that really understand and want to be here, N'Golo Kante is one of those. And I think what the plan is, despite all of the young players that we've bought in the past 2 transfer windows, despite the onus being on Boehly wanting someone to come in and develop the youth players, Potter's frozen out Chukwuemeka. He's frozen out Lewis Hall. He's frozen out Trevor Chalobah. So, in order for Chelsea to know, and for Chelsea to still show these players that represent that Chelsea identity, the rooted identity, having N'Golo Kante here at this club, remaining there when he really wanted to be there, despite all the injuries, I think this is a smart way. Once again, if we're talking about sustaining the back line, we're now talking about holding together the midfield. Even if Kante can only play 20 games in a season, what that does is, again, we are building those foundations to let people that are coming in, if we're going to keep signing loads of players, you look at N'Golo Kante and you can see what being Chelsea is. You can see what being Chelsea means. So I think it is a bit crazy to offer him a 3-year deal based off of this recent track record of injuries. But when he's fit, we have seen it in the past 18 months. N'Golo Kante is a game changer, world champion, European champion. The man is a maverick. So I think it's important right now that we don't just try and flush a load of the older players out of this team. Even Azpilicueta, as much as I've made it clear that I think Azpi needs to go this summer because enough is enough, we've got to make sure that we do keep hold of enough senior players in this team so that there is those voices of reason. There is those leaders. And I think even though Kante may not be the loudest or the most vocal, I think his presence is leadership personified. So moving from Kante, and the importance of the Kovacic potential to Man City story here, is that when you look at Chelsea's midfield, Jorginho going in January to Arsenal, without locking in N'Golo Kante, Mateo Kovacic becomes one of these senior members of the Chelsea squad. And it is something that we've got to be very, very careful with here this summer. We have heard all the talks about a massive overhaul, a massive continuation of the rebuild, and it requiring a lot of players to be sold. Pep Guardiola, last time Chelsea played City, was caught having a little chinwag, as we say, with Mateo Kovacic, and now it's coming out a couple of months later that Pep Guardiola wants Mateo Kovacic at Manchester City. We're also looking at the minute at Man City potentially chasing Jude Bellingham still. That was always going to be something that would happen. But Mateo Kovacic to City, and the reason I say this, linked in with the Kante story, is as much as maybe Kovacic isn't offering that much this season compared to what we've seen him do before, I think now that Chelsea are in such a sticky, poor place, what Kovacic does do is gone under the radar, but at the same time, when Chelsea aren't scoring goals, Kovacic is no longer that man that we're looking to call upon to put in these big match-winning performances. Because before, Kovacic could do that work in the midfield and someone would actually go and score. Now, we've scored 6 goals since November. Man United have scored flipping 50. So we've got to change something here, and Kovacic is out of favour for the reason that he doesn't contribute enough to the final killer pass and the goals. So if Pep Guardiola wants him at City, Chelsea got to be careful here that we're not getting rid of too many senior figures to bolster numbers in the clubs that we are looking to compete with. No matter what you say, Mateo Kovacic under Pep Guardiola, Mateo Kovacic under a Mikel Arteta, a Jurgen Klopp, will absolutely cook. And I think what this leads us to all understand is it's all about the manager. So if Man City want Kova, you've got to be coughing up a ton of money or chucking us a Julian Alvarez. How about that one? He'd score goals. We've seen the link up with Enzo Fernandez. Let's just keep an eye on that one, shall we? But the final story of this Chelsea news video today, if you are not yet subscribed, make sure you are. And if you're still here, please hit the like button and let me know in the comments you made it to talking about FAB. Chelsea Football Club tweeted, Chelsea Football Club is delighted to announce the establishment of our new fan advisory board. That's how we got to FAB. It's not the ice lolly. The FAB is an initiative to help fulfill our promise to be pioneers in fan engagement. Now, to clear up a couple of things straight away, I don't think I'll be putting my name forward for this one. I'm 99% sure that I won't be, even though I've already had tons of messages from you guys on Instagram saying, you should go for it, matey boy, Mr. Gio Benno. No, I live the other side of the world. This is going to be reportedly a hands-on project from Chelsea where whoever is on this advisory board will need to meet up multiple times a year to discuss internally with the club about the medium to long-term ongoings of what Chelsea are doing in business, strategy, and everything else. So I think this is a fantastic initiative, and they're using words like pioneering to show that we are forward thinking right now in the way that Todd Boehly and the club want to develop Chelsea into the ultimate example of how to run a modern day football club. I think we need to keep an eye on this one. I'm not sure if even YouTubers would be part of the people they would be looking for. I think they'll be looking a lot at global communities, different forums and stuff like that. But I don't know. Do you think it would be good to have a YouTuber on it? Personally, for me, I'm a fan. I don't want what I say to you guys to ever be stifled. I've worked with Chelsea Football Club on a couple of projects in the past, and sometimes even that was frustrating because the way that the club wanted to do things didn't really paint me as a presenter, as a talker, the way I'd liked it to. So it's not always rosy. It's not really the dream. Maybe it is. I don't know. But for me personally, I think there are other people in the world who would put in a far more dedicated effort than me. And that doesn't mean I don't love Chelsea and I don't want the best and I don't want my voice to be heard. But yeah, I've got to answer that because you guys have been asking me. I think this is good. But again, at the same time, right now, if we're to listen to the fans, how is Graham still in the job? But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here because otherwise we're going to start talking about GP again. I will be in the next video though because we've got to discuss managers. If you haven't seen the tier list yet, check it out. It was a bonfire video. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Come on, you Blues.